Good afternoon, class. Welcome to, I want to especially welcome you to today's class, right? Last time we came to class, we tried to discuss holistically what oral English is all about. And in that class, I made it clear to you that there's no way you're going to escape that aspect of UTME come year 2024 as you go for this examination. I also did say that since JAM began in 1978, I'm sure some of you know that, all right, oral English has not been an aspect of the examination question that is neglected. No, questions always come out. Even now that the exam has been reduced, the number of questions in English has been reduced to 60, yet you still have oral English aspect of the question appearing in English. Okay. And as we established in class last time, there is one thing, one knowledge, or one single information that should always be at the back of your mind, meaning that you should always remember that words are not pronounced the way they are written. Words are not pronounced the way they are written. That means there is no letter to sound correspondence in English. We did establish that. And we discuss sounds generally. We determine the number of sounds we have in English. We say there are 44, 24 consonants and 20 vowel sounds. Now, those consonants are further divided into segments. The vowels are also divided into segments. And that's the reason we are treating this topic today, sound segments in English. So these sound segments, we are going to take today's topic, sound segments in English 1, right? This is the very first. In our next class, we'll now treat sound segments in English 2. After that, we now see how to wrap up with the sounds, then move on to other aspects or other areas of oral English. Remember, you have rhymes, okay? You have rhyme scheme, you have emphatic stress, you have stress, you have emphatic stress as part of the areas, okay, that you're going to be presented with questions as this exam approaches. You understand? As I said last time, there is no time to waste whatsoever. Anything you can do and everything you can do, everything we teach you in class, after that, do make further findings. Take is good enough that the slides we are using here is being sent to you afterward. So you take a look at them and then go get those books I mentioned. I recommended some books last time I came to class that you should get them. Get those books, read up to get more examples. All right, as I said, the question that's appeared for me may not be the same question type that's going to appear for the next person by the time you log into your system during the examination. So it's highly advised that you go and do further reading apart from what we do in class. What we're doing in class is to give you, now this question you find on the board is a JAM question. This is a typical JAM question you're looking at on the board. And the points I'm going to highlight this afternoon, you take those points, you read them out to yourself, go through them in depth, okay, and understand them perfectly. Is that okay? It's a guide. It's to guide you. It's to guide you so that in subsequent studies and readings, when you come across some of these sounds, you'll be able to notice. I know that oral English is technical, but when you follow some basics, when you open your mind up to some of these basics we are treating in class, it will help you quite a lot. You get that, right? Look at this question. Firstly, we are going to treat this before we move into the segment, the sound segment. The question says, choose the word that has the same sound with the symbol below. All right, you can see these are the words And these are the sounds. This is a mixture of sounds. We have a vowel, a vowel, a vowel, a vowel, a consonant, and a consonant. All right. Now, bear in mind that I said words are not spelled the way they are written. Looking up words in the dictionary actually help you quite a lot to have a good grasp of what these sounds look like or what they sound. When you look them up in the dictionary, so you have a mobile dictionary, pronouncing dictionary. Okay, you type in some of these words. Number one, you're going to see their transcription. Number two, when your dictionary is a type that plays sound, when you click on the sound, it's going to pronounce it accurately the way it's supposed to be pronounced. And mind you, I keep telling you, we have American and British English. So the British pronunciation of the word is, of course, quite different from the American pronunciation of the word. There are good dictionary, mobile dictionaries in your phone that could do you the goodness of pronouncing those words British way. At times, the dictionary pronounces it in two ways, both British and American. The American want to pronounce Water. It's going to sound different from when a British pronounces the same Water. You understand? So now quickly let's take a look at this. Number one, there, this sound, we are asked to pick a word that has the same vowel sound with this. I've mentioned before that is a vowel. So what do you have there? You pronounce these, pronounce these, pronounce this, pronounce. You're mispronouncing these words will lead to you, or rather, you're mispronouncing this sound will lead to you picking the wrong word. For instance, if you pronounce this as soup, all right, this is soup, this is pot, and here is bed, and this is cat, cat, cat. This is cat. Here you have bed, pot, soup. Now, the right answer to this question is this. This is your answer to the question. Okay, that's B, rather C, right? This sound is the same sound you find here. All right, this is cat, because some of you may be wondering, hey, why is it this is cat and this is this? The pronunciation of this is quite different from the vowel sound you have here. This is ka, a. You see that my mouth is open wider in pronouncing this than the way it sounds or the way it appears when I'm pronouncing this. Eh, 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 eh. I'm not saying as in egg. Eh, eh, It's a combination of these sounds, all right, combined. That is what gave rise to this. So what I have here is eh, eh, the ah. See this ah. It sounds. My mouth opens wider in trying to pronounce this. Then trying to pronounce this is not as open or sounding as it appears when this is being pronounced. That's the reason this cannot be your answer. This would rather be your answer. There is something you may want to get wrong. You know, your teacher in primary school or secondary school told you that this is pronounced as all right. Oftentimes, it's not always Then in this case, is So what we have here is bet, 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 not but. I told you to come, but you did not come. No, I asked you to come, but you didn't. But you didn't. But you didn't. So it's sounding as if I'm saying BET, but it does not BET. But you didn't come. Now look at this vowel sound. We have all of these words on the board. What word do you think carries this vowel sound? Right? I'm going to pronounce them and you see the correct answer. A is wanted. Wanted. Here you have key. Here you have fly. Wanted. Your answer, the question becomes this. Wanted. The second one we have er. er, 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 So you have call, you have fur, you have pure, you have feed, feed, pure, fur, call, 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 right? Call. Good. So this sound you have here is this. All right. So you have just a moment. The vowel sound you have here is represented by this. These two sounds gives you what you have right here. It's the same sign you have in words such as nurse, okay? Such as nurse, nerve, 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 not nurse, but nurse, nurse, the nurse, the nurse. The nurse hasn't come to the office today. The nurse has not been to the hospital. The nurse has not been to the hospital. You heard me right. Good. Look at this sound. Maybe it's your A, your normal A as in this. Because I pointed out this, it will be easier for you to understand this sound, right? So I'm going to pronounce these words, then you're going to see the right answer to the question. Let's go. This is mark, mark, mark. So you have your long R, then here is hit, 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 long E right there. There is dance, dance, dance. And this is high, high. So your answer to the question becomes this. This vowel you have here is what is represented by this symbol. Now look at of course. We have J, we have keep, we have build, we have steal. None of these is the answer. Not steal, not build, not keep, the G. Right? Okay. So this sound or this symbol is what is represented here. And the next one is now this sound alone has its description in English, right? We call it a villa sound. Voiceless villa sound is voiceless. Okay. Meaning when pronouncing that sound, it does not sound deep. You won't feel any vibration in your larynx as you pronounce it. Okay, there's no forceful push of air coming from your vocal cord or your oral tract as you try to pronounce this. So simple, right? So in pronouncing these words, you get to say the first one there is think, think, think. You have past, you have has, and park. Of course, from the way I pronounce them, you know deep down that the right answer is this. This sound is represented here. So you have past, past, past. So I'm not going to say past, trying to pronounce this. No, what I have here, what I have represented here is this, past, past, instead of past. Okay, now the last one, we have that sound. I mentioned that sound to you the last time I came to class. And from example number 6, you should know already what that sound represents or how it's pronounced. Is that clear? Now look at this. Take, father, thanks, thanks, thanks. Tear, tear, tear. You find out that this represent this represent this. So your question should be between this and this. Of course, this TH represented here in this word is not this, but rather the TH represented here is this. So you say thanks, thanks, thanks. Okay, thanks. All right. So here we have bet, wanted, fur, dance, jeep, past, and thanks, and thanks. Okay, and thanks. Right. So I need you to go through this for a moment, and of course, so that we get into the topic we have for today. You're fine with this? Good. So take notes. Take notes. The way you hear me pronounce them is actually the way the sounds are pronounced. Don't say this. By the time you transcribe this, the all you have there is not going to be this. Right? That's the reason we picked this. So henceforth, do not pronounce but as but. No, it's bet, 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 bet. I looked around where you asked me to do it, but I couldn't find the material. I couldn't find the material, but I couldn't find the material. So you learn something today. Please take note. This is a recurring question in JAM. Go through your past question paper. You're going to find all of this. It's a recurring question. It's a recurring question. These are the symbols. Why do examiners do that? Simple. They believe, or they no, they believe that as Nigerian speakers of English, you don't have a clear understanding of these sounds. All right. So it's just a way of testing you to know how wrongly you be mispronouncing words in English. So that is the reason. Because on the norm, a typical average speaker of English in Nigeria wouldn't get sounds such as this correctly in pronouncing words. You wouldn't get it, except you've been taught over and again and you practice and master them. If not, how would you have known that this is this sound? Because you've been pronouncing this wrongly. How would you have known that this is this sound? Because you pronounce this as one third, all right? One third, you have the ED here. Because in your own understanding, this is and oftentimes you think, oh, wherever I see TED is always air, so you say wanted. Hmm? No, it's rather wanted, market it, not marketed, market it, market it, market it. I told you there is a rule that governs this. English is a rule governed language. So the rule that governs why these words are pronounced differently in different environments, in different contexts, in different areas. Those rules I'm going to be giving it to you as time allows us. Back to our topic for today, sound segments in English. Knowing the language includes knowing the sounds of that language. For instance, when you know Yoruba, you can speak Yoruba. Of course, you have to know the sounds in Yoruba as a language. Yoruba is a people. Yoruba is also a language. English is a people. English is also a language. Okay, so we normally say English people, but it's wrong to say English people. Just say English. All right. You cannot say Yoruba people, Yoruba language. Yoruba is a language we know. Yoruba is also a people. It's when you use them in a sentence, they use where it appears in the sentence, the antecedent to that word will now tell us whether you are referring to Yoruba as a language or Yoruba as a people. Igbo people, Hausa people. Hausa is a language, then Igbo is a language. So for you to know a sound, French is a language, German is a language, and German is a people. Is it not? Good. Spanish. Spanish is a language, right? You have Spanish as a people as well. So we are saying that knowing a language also means you know the sound of that language. Now, English is our case study here. You know English, you must know the sounds in that language, English. Mind you, you're not just doing this exam because you're not taking English or oral English because of the exam alone. English is a language you use often every day, in everyday conversation, everyday business. anything you're dealing with. Of course, you do it in English. You did chemistry in English. You do maths in English. You do biology in English, physics in English. There is no language that says this is physics language. It's spelled in English. All right. So now we identify speech sounds as we did last time. All right. We said that speech sounds in English, of course, you have the acoustic. We call it acoustic. Speech sounds in English, we call them acoustic. Let me have that. Right? We call them acoustic. Why do we say acoustic? Because the sound, there is a particular sound that comes with it. All right? As you make those sounds, acoustic. Then we have auditory. We have auditory, and we have articulatory. Articulatory. All right? Articulative phonetics. Articulative phonetics. Now look at this. Acoustics, that's a sound you hear, right? Auditory has to do with your ear. Your ear. This one has to do with your ear, right? The acoustic focuses on the physical properties of the sounds of language. You do physics and chemistry, you might have come across this. While the auditory focuses on how listeners perceive the sounds, okay? How listeners perceive the sound. What I'm saying now, how you perceive it in your ear is what is known as auditory. It has to do with your hearing. And then the articulatory, how I'm able to say what I'm saying. Am I saying them correctly? I'm saying them wrongly. Now, there could be wrong perception. You heard a wrong thing, okay? There is this popular example I normally give, all right? Somebody went to a market and bought a TV set. When he had paid for the TV set and took the TV set along with him, while he was on his way, the seller never knew that the customer has gone with the TV set because the guy who sold the TV set to him was busy writing a receipt. You heard me pronounce it as receipt, not receipt. While he was writing the receipt, the guy went with the TV set. So when he looked up and saw him, he ran after him, shouting his name. While he was shouting his name, people in the market ran after the guy whose name was being shouted. They caught this guy and beat him. He was beaten, like he was really beaten by the mob, by the crowd who went after him. Why did they beat him? They beat him because they heard wrongly. The guy who wrote the receipt was calling his customer's name. Guess what he was calling? He was calling Latif. Latif. Okay? He was calling Latif. Think Latif is spelled this way. Latif. He was calling Latif. 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 Now, the guys that caught this customer and beat him did not hear Latif. Guess what they heard? Natif. See? This is what they heard, though. This is what they heard. Okay? So they rather heard Natif instead of Latif. Now, whose fault? Is it the guy who wrote the receipt that was saying Latif, or the people who caught Latif and beat him? The problem here is wrong perception. The people who caught this guy and beat him heard wrong thing. He was saying Latif. They heard Natif. You see? Wrong listening. All right. So auditory, you must be careful. Even when you listen to yourself, are you saying the right thing? Say the right thing and listen to yourself and see how the right thing you're saying gets to you. Okay. Now, the phonetic alphabet. This one has to do with spelling, and I've been emphasizing that over and again. It has to do with spelling. There is no letter to sound correspondence in English. Just a moment. Okay? There's no letter whatsoever to sound correspondence in English. Spelling is different from pronunciation. Words are spelled differently and pronounced differently. All right, let me just use this as an example. Look at this word. This is father here, and look at this. This sound you have here is different from what you have here. If you're not careful, you say, oh, this is A, and this is also A. But the combination of A, G, E changes the sound you have here from what you should have here. So I cannot say village because I have fa, fa, v, a. No. Guess what? This is not village, the way you pronounce it. Village. No, this is village. Village. By the time I transcribe this, you're going to realize that, oh, this has changed its sound to your E, not E, your E. So you have father, A here, and then you have village, 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 village. This is what you're going to have. Let me use this. Can you see? Village, village, not village, not village, as you often say. Right, look at this. This is somebody's name, Caesar, Caesar, and Seas. You're looking at this. The sound here is actually different from what you have here. Okay, so there are rules that govern this, that makes this to happen. All right. Now, there are points I need you to take note of. And the point is that the same sounds may be represented by many letters or combination of letters. The same sounds may be represented by many letters or a combination of letters. And we have examples. He, the E we have in he, we have E. Just this sound alone, okay? Just this sound alone, you have it in people, people. So E, people, people. Now in people, you have the EOPL represented just by this one single sound. That's what we are saying. You have key, you have believe, you have sees, you have C, and you have amoeba. All right, amoeba. A combination of sound represented by just one single sound. Another point you need to note is that the same sounds may represent a variety of sounds. The same sound may represent a variety of sound. Look at this sound. It represents a variety of sound. This is a variety of sound. How does A what does A has to do with this? This is village, village. You see, variety of sound. Unlike when you pronounce it as village, okay? Now, further example, you have, all right, you have a maid, you have badly, and so on. Number 3, a combination of letters may represent a single sound. A combination of letters may represent a single sound. Look at this. English is funny. So funny that you have this. This is Thomas. Okay? Why is it that when you get here, you now have this? Even you have this. Right? This is a place. Thames. 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 I did not say Thames. I say Thames. Thames. Your normal this sound. See, this sound. That's all you have here. But we have a rule that says that anything TH is this. But in this case, it's different. Telling you that it's not absolute. Okay? So you have Thomas. The combination of this sound gives birth or generates another sound, just this alone, right? Number 4, all right, we have other examples. Good. Look at this. Look at this. Take a look at this. We say that in that point, we say that a combination of letters may represent a single sound. A combination of letters may represent a single sound. Look at this, your subjects here. What you have there here is physics, physics, physics. Now look at these two sounds here. These two sounds, in some words, will represent a single sound. Example, this. Can you see now? Right? So PH represent this sound. This is a combination of sound. These two sounds representing this. All right. I could decide to underline the Y and I will have phi, 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 phi. All right. Phi. And it will bring me to this. So I'm going to pick a word that has the same sound with this, but the word I'm going to pick starts with this. Okay. If I have options and I have the words such as okay, look at this. I have I have triumph, right? Triumph, and I have trophy, okay, trophy. Now, you have father, triumph, trophy. Now look at this. Triumph, triumph, trophy, and then father. Which of these do you think carry the sound represented here? Father, trophy, triumph. You even have enough. Okay? Enough. Now you heard me say enough and not enough. Enough. Then when you get to words such as this, you have this word, this simple word. You will typically say enjoy, enjoy. Can you now see why English words are not pronounced the way they are spelled? So take a look at father, triumph, trophy, enough. That's your assignment. Which of these words carry this sound represented here? Does this carry it? Does this carry it? Does this carry it? Does this carry it? To give you a clue, transcribe the 4 words and find out. You may realize that, oh, this sound is found here, is found here, is found here, is found here, or is not found in any of them. All right? Just take a look. Let me give you another word that is often used as a word to pick a sound. Look at this. Normally, on your own, as you speak in English, you will say this is benefit. 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 By so doing, you're pronouncing the word according to the letters, the spelling. But rather, what we have there is benefit, benefit, benefit. So this sound changes. Benefit. Okay? Number 4, a single letter may represent a combination of sounds. A single letter may represent a combination of sounds. Number 5, some letters in a word may not be pronounced at all. Just a moment. Some letters in a word may not be pronounced at all. Some letters in a word may not be pronounced at all. This is a serious part of pronunciation in English that is, look at this. Let me give you these examples. All right. Look at these examples so that apart from getting ready to write JAM examination, as you speak in English every day, you should be saying the right thing. You should be saying the right thing. Okay? You should be saying the right thing. Say some letters are not pronounced at all. Some letters are not pronounced at all. Don't worry. When you say some of these words where your friends are, they may laugh at you. And that's okay. At least you're saying the right thing. Because when you get to an English speaking country, of course, you have to speak English correctly. And your friends may not be there, right? Look at these words on the board. We say in that point that some letters in the word may not be pronounced at all. Look at this. Now say the truth. You have been pronouncing these words wrongly. What is this? The word that this letter that is not pronounced in this word is this P you have here. All right? Call, 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 call. This, you know the meaning? But you have a word that has this, but there's E at the end, you pronounce it corpse, dead body. But this has to do with, all right, you have NYSC, good, National Youth Service Corps, not National Youth Service Corps. Don't call those your sisters and brothers corpse. They are not. When there is E at the end, it means dead body. You cannot say corpse. They here, corps. This is psychology, and this is sword, not sword. Look at resign, resign, resign. Look at this. Pterodactyl, pterodactyl, pterodactyl. If I didn't spell this on the board, write it, and you wouldn't know there is a P that begins it. Pterodactyl, pterodactyl. This is lamb, lamb, not lamb. The B is silent. This is right. The W is silent. This is not, not. You know what this is. The K is silent. This is subtle, subtle, not subtle, not subtle. As many of you want to pronounce the B, this is subtle, subtle. And this is debt, debt, not debt, debt. What you have here is listen. Can you listen? Not listen. The students were not listening. The students were not listening. The students were not listening, right? This is your receipt, receipt. And this is honest, not honest. To be honest, you're never honest. You are honest. The H here is not sounded, you say honest. Now look at this. Very funny. Look at this. Do you know how to pronounce this word? That's your assignment. When I come back to class next week, by God's grace, we'll go to some segments in English too. Thank you for this time.